いいだろう。勝負だ。私のカードは。待ちな。俺のレイズの権利がまだ済んでないぜ。何？母親だと。ジョータロ、ホリーさんの魂よ。ディオのスタンドの秘密を喋ってもらう。
Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 923, directed by Katsumi Tokoro from Akitaro Daichi's board, and supervised by Masahiro Shimanuki. While Daichi's scandal is certainly something that should be taken seriously, his board for this episode is looking just as solid and skillfully made as his one for episode 912. And a seasoned director like Katsumi Tokoro, who's known for handling important episodes, should execute it flawlessly, to make Big Mom's introduction into Wano just as hard-hitting as it should be. Masahiro Shimanuki is certainly one of the more controversial supervisors on the anime, due to his chicken scratchy-like art that has a degree of stiffness to it, but he has his moments and our chief supervisors will correct anything that may look unsightly. So will episode 923 end up being one that's worthy of bearing one of the 4 emperors' names? Well, let's not stall our hunger pains any longer and find out. This episode covers page 4 of chapter 928 and the last 6 pages of chapter 929 and the first 6 pages of chapter 930, with most Kaido scenes likely being omitted to save them for next episode. And because the episode has such a large page count and once again makes clever usage of filler like the rest of Act 2, adding in stuff that is critical to future events, this episode ends up being fairly well paced. It certainly isn't the most eventful episode in the world aside from the end, as a lot of it is more or less merely build-up to more exciting upcoming events, but the already exciting build-up is all adapted really well. And aside from some instances where the episode feels like it's stretching itself out a bit, the pacing always feels absolutely necessary for the content being shown, even helping the cutaway to Udon that adapts content that could have been adapted back in episode 921 feel more natural, especially with the nighttime setting that adds some nice atmosphere. While I do think there was some miscommunication on Orochi's reveal, as he's now back in shadow before being revealed despite being completely visible last episode, this week feels very tightly done in uniform in terms of adaptation, using many of Act 2's current tips and tricks to make it feel eventful despite the rather blue-balling content. While I personally think I prefer Daichi's efforts on episode 912 to his work here, I'd be wrong if I said that this wasn't an extremely solid storyboard all in all. There's a great deal of character, impactful establishing shots and transitions, and insane and lifelike scale peppered throughout the entire episode, with some crazy cool angles that you don't typically see from boards on the series acting as a nice bow on things to make this board unique and bearing its own individuality. And even though Katsumi Tokoro's usage of compositing is more often than not as plentiful as some of his fellow episode directors, there's actually quite a substantial amount of cool lighting and colors from him that add an extra layer to Daichi's already surprisingly stylish board. And when he's not being corrected by our 2 chief animation supervisors Ichikawa and Matsuda, Masahiro Shimanuki is actually fairly inoffensive here, mostly dealing with more rugged and large characters that are very much so his forte, and leaving other non-corrected art-heavy scenes to people like Shingaki and Hirotaka Ito, effectively helping to make episode 923 a unique and polished episode that helps build towards the exciting events that are about to come our way. While I do feel like episode 912 had a bit more of an impact on me than this episode did, 923 was still an extremely solid outing that did Big Mom's intro into Wano justice and then some. Now, I would like like to go over what we can expect from next episode in form of episode 924, but not only do we not know the staff for it just yet, but the preview actually shows very little aside from some really nice action from presumably Chu Young-seo, most likely to not blow their load and spoil a lot because of the upcoming 2-week break. However, what we can see at the very least does indeed look very exciting, and I am personally waiting with bated breath to find out who the staff is for this continuation of Big Mom's entrance into Wano in 3 weeks. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and yeah, Shingaki really did miss this time with Robin.